guys, welcome to the Worst Generation podcast where we discuss all things One Piece card game. I'm Orange Samurai D, your level 1 judge. We got Garrett Farrington, Evan Garnes, and we got a very special guest, Ben Ferris, the level 0 judge for the One Piece card game. So,
what
Ben,
does that even mean?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Like Diego and me, we're level 1 judges.
Yeah.
So what is?
I mean, you guys are technically above me then, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
It's how math works.
Bandai is very
Why
special.
are you even here?
Zero is higher here. Yeah, like in Bleach.
Yeah. But the thing is though,
like
level
Bleach.
0 is bigger than level 1, but level 2 is bigger than level 1.
But it's also like a tier system.
Yeah.
When we think of the decks, like we think like, oh, that's tier 0, right? Versus, and that's higher than tier 1, man.
Yeah, but then a tier 2 judge is bigger than a tier 1 judge.
I got nothing.
That's perfect. Yeah, so Ben, I want to ask some questions about your background
Sure.
with trading card games and such. For example, what games have you played for trading card games?
I started playing card games in high school. Played Yu-Gi-Oh first, then Magic. Then throughout college, took a break. Then I think the next big card game I played was honestly Dragon Ball. Coming back into it, then kind of stuck with Bandai. Played Digimon and now One Piece.
One Piece. And then how do you come about to become a judge and to get to this position right now?
Ooh, okay, I guess well, in high school, going into college, I was poor, I don't have cards. So I ended up just judging to go places because they would give you some money for the stipend and then judge comp. You could always sell.
Good way to get product, too.
It was good because I could go places with my friends
Yeah.
and still not be broke.
Yeah.
Right. So, but it was good, a lot of fun then. And then going into Dragon Ball, my next major card game, I started always playing. And then I got busy in my grad school and didn't have enough time to actually compete as much as I used to because I started off playing very competitively, like topped a couple events, then just got busy, needed money, so I started judging that way and kind of just fell back into judging and then kept getting more and more opportunities to judge and then kept me judging throughout Dragon Ball, into Digimon, and now One Piece.
So this is my first Bandai TCG, so I don't know these things. For example, have you judged any national world event for Bandai games?
Yeah, so this past year for Dragon Ball, I was the head judge for the 2022 finals event. For Digimon last year, I was the head judge for the NA finals event and also the head judge for the world event last year as well.
How do you feel about the new organized play system? How we're doing level 1s for the floor judges? We're going to have judges come in for store tournaments later on.
Yeah.
How do you think it's going to work out? You think it's going to be a good system?
Oh, I think it's awesome. I think from Dragon Ball being the first, again, game over here from where we started, and how we had the test was online, everyone took it, then they closed the test down. It was closed for years. No one was ever to be able to take a new test and things like that. In Digimon, if you wanted to be a judge, you had to be recommended to take this test.
Wow, that's
by a TO is kind of like the system-ish that we had now, but but not really because you can just apply through a form. It's kind of just a lot.
Hey, there we go.
Look at that.
Let's
I
take
guess
this video.
we're watching
Yo, top 2?
top 2. Nice.
like it?
Top 4.
Top 4, sorry.
All right.
No, that's fine.
But anyway, but now it's a lot more streamlined. We're having a lot more judges, a lot more people who wanted to judge the whole time. It didn't have the opportunity to.
A lot of people sign up for that thing.
Yeah,
and we have a whole list now.
Whole list, and we're getting through it slowly, but it's happening. Everyone will get a
it's
chance to take the test.
Yeah.
What if you fail twice?
You get to take.
Asking for a friend.
We literally are, though, because we have a friend, Diego
friend.
and I do, who literally
Not you.
failed twice. Not me.
Well, you kind of failed
Like
twice.
twice.
I missed my second one.
His second take was yesterday, and he forgot to take it.
Is that a fail if you no-show though? Is it though?
Technically, it counts.
fudge.
But
Rip.
so what happens is, if you look at the the announcement section, it does say that if you fail twice, you're kind of not on a probation. You're on a probation period essentially, where you have to retake it, and you have a chance to take it in 3 or 6 months. I forget the exact number, but you're able to take it again, and then you get to redo the cycle and stuff, and then reapply and things like that. But there's always an opportunity to take it again.
All right. So final question for this part of the video before we move on. Do you watch One Piece?
I do now. Now's the key thing. I didn't watch One Piece. So even for Dragon Ball, which I was more heavily involved in up until One Piece, I didn't start watching Dragon Ball until I started playing the card game. And I watched all of it, including Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball, everything, all the movies.
GT was fun.
And then for One Piece, I started playing the game because to me and my friends, it's kind of an in-between for the Bandai games. It's very similar to it's the good things that we liked from Dragon Ball, the good things we liked from Digimon-ish, and then put it together. And that's why we like it. We have a defensive combo system, but not an offensive combo system. It allows you to include Dawn. All the creatures don't just get to, all the characters don't have intrinsic haste, I'm going to use the word, or rush.
Yeah.
Depending, because Dragon Ball, every card you play a card.
No summoning sickness.
There's no summoning sickness for lack of better terms. in that, but there's some asynchronous in Digimon, so having that does slow the pace of the game down. So there's a lot of good in both. But going back to the question, no, I didn't watch One Piece until then, but now I'm on episode 800 something. Was it Whole Cake Island?
Hey, that's pretty good, yeah.
It's a good arc.
Well, that's good because that's all set 3.
I know. I was not spoiled. And now it makes
set 4
sense.
is
I
gone
understand
back.
it. It's very thematic.
That is one of my favorite parts.
It's so thematic.
Yeah,
now.
we talked about that last episode, but one of my favorite parts about the One Piece TCG is how thematic every card
It really
is.
has been. It's kind of cool. Like watching a show, I'm like, oh my god, this is a new character. Oh, I was like, wait, they're in the show. What do they do? Then I see Kaido, and I'm like, I finally see Kaido in some of the episodes recently. I'm like, what is going on?
Water.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people are playing these games as a gateway to learn the IP. Like you said, Dragon Ball, Digimon, and when I went to like the demo deck events, there were Magic players, they were DBS players, Digimon players. Like I never seen One Piece, but I'll try it out, and they're playing it, and they're watching the series or reading the manga.
Yep.
So yeah. So anyways, we're gonna go into the next portion of the podcast. We're gonna talk about Treasure Cup. It is currently Sunday. We got the stream in the back for Carta Mágica.
Mm-hmm.
That is top 4, I believe.
Yeah, it's still top 4.
We got my friend Max Moonman over there, I think. I can't see from that far, but I think that's him. And so we already know 3 winners. We know Australia, we know UK, and we know
Say the winner
California.
for each. Let's say the winner for each.
So Australia, Sydney, Australia was Law. Yep. He defeated Kaido in the final. Cool. And then I'm sorry, I'm just so deadpan about it. And then yesterday, after a very long 15-something hours on the stream, we saw Red Luffy
beat Law.
Beat Law.
Yep.
I really wanted to be Law again, but whatever. And now this morning, or through the night, we had the winner for UK.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was Kid, right?
I don't know.
No. The UK was Law.
Yes.
He beat the guy that played a Sachi Penguin combo.
Damn.
I wanted him to win too. That play was so nasty.
Yeah, and then right now, it's 3 kids and 1 Zoro in top 4. So unless the Zoro can take it home, it's looking like a kid finals.
Yes.
That's a pretty diverse 4 winners so far, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, outside the Law. I mean, think about how much Law. I mean, Law could have literally won 3 for 4.
Yeah, because we saw, I don't have the stats on the representation, but Core TCG and Eggman did have a graphic for that. And for at least California, which is practically, our country, our meta and stuff like that, it was 134 kids, 92 purple Kaidos, 89 red Zoros, 55 red Luffys, 49 red green Laws, 40 the Flamingos, 10 blue purple Crocodile, 8 blue purple Kaido, 6 red green Luffys, 5 Odins, 2 Uta, 1 King, and 1 blue Crocodile.
Yeah, that king was the king.
Yo, we're playing that Uta, the Uta players.
But
shout out
what's
to you.
crazy is you said how many Luffys?
55.
And how many were in top cut? 6?
Scroll over,
It's
memes and everything. Yeah, so
It's
6.
a crazy conversion.
Yeah, the top 16 was 6 Luffys, 1 Zoro, 1 Kaido, 2 Laws, 3 Kids, 3 Doflamingo. So
That's another thing. Were you shocked to see so many Doflamingo in top 16?
Yes and no. Doflamingo is a really good consistent deck. Now, it does not track well into green, but as we could see, though green was a big pool of the player base of that tournament, green itself didn't convert that well in top cut, and there was a bunch of red players. And then you might...
I mean, because there's 1 Zoro?
One Zoro.
The 1 Zoro, and he got
7,
top 8.
7 mono red, though.
7 mono red, and then a Law,
2 Law.
Yeah, 2 Law.
Yeah.
So...
Kaido.
I don't know what those players were playing against, but if they weren't playing a lot of green, or maybe they weren't playing the most competitive green players early in, like they saw their green matches really early in, and then they were able to like make it through to
Play the Luffy's.
Play-
And that's a big thing,
Yeah.
like matchups, 'cause-
And you have to remember, in a best-of-1 tournament, consistency is a huge part.
Yeah.
And when you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck and stack it, that's a huge consistency.
Do you think that's why we only see 1 Kaido here?
Yeah. Like I told you, I expected only 1 Kaido in top cut.
Yeah, you did say that.
But I did expect there to be the Kaido player to make it further into top cut.
He got blown up by Zoro, right? If I
Yeah.
recall. Yeah.
But that's also like a weird matchup for the Kaido players. So maybe it's like if that Kaido player would have sat in front of the Doflamingos, the kids, and the Luffys, or even the Laws. Like that Kaido player sat in front of the other dark horse in that top 8 and then got like really bodied by it, you know? But if he would have sat in front of like a Kid player and then the Zoro player lost out to a Dofi or a Luffy player early in, I could definitely see that Kaido player making it out.
What do you think, Ben?
I actually, so going back to the point about the Dome Flamingo, the one, I think, I believe his name was Michael, I forget his last name, but he had like 2 stream matches against Green.
Okay.
It starts with an O.
Yeah.
He played exceptionally well against Green.
Oh,
he even said, he played exceptionally well against Green, did very good on stream, said it's not as bad a matchup as everyone thinks, it's closer. And regardless of what you say, that it can depend on matchups, depend on people misplaying, but to have the confidence to go into an event, perform that well, I believe he made top 4, into so much green, shows how good that deck could be, and maybe it's not as much of a bad matchup as everyone assumed it to be.
Based off of our playtesting, if you're playing like perfectly, the green matchup should win, like 99% of the time.
Yeah,
now,
agreed.
obviously, when
It's because of the 8 Kid.
the 8 Kid makes that deck. So if you don't see the 8 Kid, yeah, but I don't know. Maybe it's like commentator or someone that's watching the view play and then can see both players' hands. But I remember me and Garrett were watching that stream, and then we were like, oh, well, if the green player did this, and this, he won the game.
There's
Now,
always a chance, yeah.
I don't know what's going on in both players' hands and stuff like that, and then it could have played out differently. But I do think that had a lot to do upon what the green players were doing, rather than the matchup itself.
But to your point, we did see a couple of his streams. I mean, he did play extremely well. I mean,
No, there's nothing against the Dofi players there. I think the Dofi player played to his outs, but I still think that if the green players were playing better, they most likely would have won out.
it just felt like to me, though, more often than not, the Dofi player was putting the green kids on gotta have it.
Yes.
Like we've talked about, that's the strategy for this
Yeah,
set.
for
right
this
now.
set, you have to put all.
You know, don't be conservative.
That's one of
Put
the
people
things
on
about-
gotta have it.
Kaido, for instance.
Right.
There's no way for you to play around everything Kaido can do because Kaido has an answer to any card in the game.
Right.
So you just have to play a card and hope Kaido doesn't have an answer for it.
Right.
Yeah. And going on that, like the one thing that got to have it with the Dofi player, Michael, he didn't use his leader skill as often as when you casually see people at locals. Like every turn they feel like they need to use it. He just would put Dawn on and swing and not pay. He would use that extra Dawn swing at 8 at 8, just have another, and just keep his Dawn. Maybe his Dawn manipulation was better.
And even in the early game, he was more focused on playing down his Virgos.
Yep.
Instead of like turn
He was
3
setting himself
using a
up
Dofi
for
loop.
his
Exactly.
he
For
was
the
trying
8
to
drop.
Yes.
You know, make it as easy as possible. He also, if you noticed, made sure almost every game it looked like to get 2 Mihawks on board.
Yep.
You know, the easiest way he could take to go into 8 Kid, he did that.
He
you know,
played
and that
his
is the
outs.
best strategy
Correct.
for it.
Yeah.
But the law was the most shocking thing to me yesterday.
Really?
It's a 4-life leader, first off. And when you look at this pool, it's the only one. It's the only 4-life leader. And for Law to do that well at 4-life with something like Kaido, the consistency of red, so many things can rush face and get through blockers or destroy board, or Nekos in green, or double swing leader to clear board. It's crazy to me that a Law was able to, multiple Laws were able to do so well.
The finalist actually went undefeated all the way through till the very, very
Right,
end.
and lost to the Luffy player.
Yeah. I think in Australia they did too. I'm not 100% sure though.
Yeah.
But it's just like a lot. Like despite having 10 plus rounds, it's still winning.
As a
So,
4-life leader. Like, that's crazy
Yeah.
to me. It really is.
Do you think it's the potential of the deck or it's like pilot driven? Like,
Law is the most pilot-driven deck in the format, bar none. I mean, it is, without a doubt,
high ceiling.
you don't have any room for error. If
Yeah.
you make the wrong play or take the wrong line
The wrong
to
switch.
get to the end game, it will bite you. There is no room for mistakes.
That's what happened at the final, didn't it? At the end, they
correct.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a way for that Law player
Yeah.
to actually win that event. But like Evan said earlier, we have knowledge that they didn't have.
Yeah, and it
so
was-
it's not fair to him
Yeah.
to say that.
It was
Plus,
a
this
very
is a
long
15-hour event.
tournament.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah,
have to
that's
think.
people are brain dead, but no,
And-
not about they're tired.
Yeah.
That's another thing where I think we discussed this a little bit about last week. But when you're making your deck choice, you have to sit there like, if I'm trying to win this event, if I'm trying to win with Law, do I have the stamina to play Law for 15
Right.
hours?
Do you want to do
Yeah.
mental
It's
gymnastics
very
for 9
draining.
hours?
Yeah.
You
It's
know?
not like
Versus
Zoro, pew, 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 pew.
showing up with green or playing even Kaido and something like that. Like, I remember I was playing in the 1K event. I was 7 rounds in playing Kaido, and I was just like,
Chilling.
yeah, cool, whatever. Play
I
those
haven't done
popular
anything all
guys.
day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
But Law, you're like doing like, okay, so I could play this, that, this, bounce this card, play this card, then I could have this amount of guys on board, or I could rest this, have this amount of Dawn. If I get this off of Bonnie, maybe I'll get this card to make this
And
like.
they all have to be the right color.
Yeah.
They all have to be the right color.
Yeah. There's just so many things going on. So much interaction, which makes it fun.
Yeah,
It is
100%.
one of the most fun
That's why I
decks
think
for
that Law has the most conversion rate outside of like existing card game players into this game.
Okay, like it's the deck everyone wants to try.
Yeah, we
like
have
a Yu-Gi-Oh player comes into One Piece.
It's
It's a really good
Yeah.
deck.
We have a lot of friends that are Dragon Ball players.
Yeah.
All of them want to play it because it plays like some.
It plays like Swap. Is a deck in Dragon Ball that just you play a card, then you attack with it, and it comes back to your hand. You play a bigger guy, attack with it, which is basically what this does.
Yeah.
I play Bonnie, tap it, I have 5 guys, pay 2, and now I play my red Luffy swing.
Yeah.
That seemed fair.
So were you not surprised by the viability of Law?
It was the first deck I played.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. When proxy decks I played Doflamingo, but the first deck I built in ones that had physical cards
Yeah.
was a Law.
So you're not surprised?
No, I've played it.
You've always thought
I've
it was
always
that good.
thought it was that good because it's the
Okay.
most fun. I thought it was better than any mono red deck at the time, just because it rewards skill.
It does reward
And
skill.
I think skill in this game matters a lot. But
But you're starting to see Luffy builds change too. It's not as much go for face. Look at the 4 Beckman last
yeah,
night.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
But I think that's Luffy playing into mid range, right? That's why
Correct.
Zoro. I think Zoro's a trap, like we talked about earlier before this,
Right.
that you're almost forced to just always turning things sideways.
Correct.
Which we don't think, which we all agreed upon, which might not be the right thing right now. Where
Right.
Luffy plays the mid range game almost better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally think so. I mean, when I topped the 1K with Luffy early on, it was a Beckman build. You know, you
Yeah.
have to run 2 or 3
He's so
Beckman.
strong.
You have to
Yeah.
run 2 or 3 Shanks.
Yeah, I remember us driving around all week just trying to pick up Uda packs so that we could
Yeah,
play.
so I could play. So I could even play the deck.
Yeah,
You know.
and it was hard to come by at first.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
They were.
No, it's like-
So I mean, that was like way in December though.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
like week 1.
Yeah.
It was early week 1.
Games when
So
that
I
happened.
need all these. Oh,
Yeah.
I also
So
need products.
I do
Yeah,
have the top
exactly.
16 representation for Birmingham. 6 Kid, 4 Kaido, 4 Law, 1 Dofi, 1 Luffy.
And that's not Birmingham, United States.
That's UK.
No,
That's UK, just so everyone knows.
That's the, yeah, big diff. So,
It seems
kind
like-
of, well, 1 Luffy compared to the 6 on the other one. So.
I think that has to
But
do
do you,
with.
how many Zoro? Do you see? No Zoro.
no
Wow. So
Zoro.
not, no
Yeah, but in the
Mara.
event happening right now, there's 4 Zoros in top 16.
Oh,
Yeah,
there we go.
wow.
So,
So there's
for
the top
Canada,
16
it's 4
breakdown.
Zoro, I can't see from this far, 5 Kid. How many Luffy is that?
1 Luffy, 1 blue purple Kaido,
What?
2 Law,
Yeah,
and
top
3
8.
purple.
Blue Purple Kaido.
The blue
Nice.
purple Kaido had a great run in Swiss. They were
I
saying
heard,
the
yeah.
other day too.
Yeah.
So. I mean, it's a consistent deck. You get Doflamingo in there on 3
It-
drops. You get 1 drop blockers.
Blue has the best mid range. So if you're taking
Yeah.
the best mid range and putting in the,
The
best
best
end,
high-end?
yeah,
I
it
mean-
makes sense.
Don't rely on Island as much.
No.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
No. Some people don't even play it in it.
You might not need it.
I mean,
Your leader's
that's 4
Island.
spots. Dead cards in your hand at a certain point.
It's your 1-drop blockers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, that's why you gotta win. You gotta play 52 cards in Kaido to win.
52 cards
52?
to win.
No, never see Island that way. So moving on to that, we do have, that was 4 treasure cups that we had, and now we're moving on to next week. It's gonna be Miami, and after that we're gonna go to Texas and whatnot. So for Miami, we're all going to this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be judging. He's
Ben will be the head judge.
Assi-
correct?
assistant head judge.
Nate
Assistant head judge.
Nate.
is gonna be the head
Yep.
judge from PPG. So we'll be there. And like, what do you guys, after all these 4 tournaments happen, how do you feel about what you were playing? Because we talked about it last week, and you were like, I feel like playing this. That.
Yeah.
Now things have changed. We have
100%.
2 law
Oh.
winners.
100%.
Yeah, me and him have been wanting to play a deck, but that deck really, really loses to Luffy. And then
Yeah.
based off of the way that Luffy represented there,
Yeah.
even if Luffy isn't the best deck in the format, but the fact that
It's so represented.
it's so represented,
every round.
and then it won, right?
It won.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
won.
Long
won.
Beach was won by Luffy.
I think that's going to really heavily
Influence.
influence players' deck decisions that day.
Yeah.
So
TCG's a copycat game. They
Yeah,
don't-
Yeah.
they play
I
the
mean-
winner of the last one, or they
Against it.
build
Counter.
against it.
Yeah.
Like with DLB, when blue won, when purple won, they were building against
Everyone
it.
does 1 or 2 things. You either
Yeah.
counter it or you do the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sometimes you get the dark horse and they
Yeah.
top
oh
it
yeah,
and win,
100%.
No,
Like
I-
it's
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
No, I have a
Yeah.
question. So do you think, so it seems like everywhere across the world, like we had the Oceania event had a different meta, the UK event had a different meta.
Yeah.
Canada, like Niagara had a different meta, and so did California. Do you think Miami will have a different meta regardless of these results?
I think
I do.
So. I
I
think
do.
so. Florida's huge, and I think
Yeah.
a lot of participants are going to be Floridians, not necessarily travelers.
not only that, but just taking we've been to Miami several times now, and we know their meta down there. For lack of a better word, they like very heavy pilot-centric decks. So I actually think Law is going to be more represented in
So
Miami.
I think the 3 most played decks in Miami is going to be Red Luffy, Law, and Doflamingo.
Yeah,
Possible.
I mean, I could totally see that.
Especially
But
now.
then at that point, it makes me ask, well, why not just play
No
Kaido
kid?
and High Roll?
That's what I'm going to do.
Spoiler.
I mean, you didn't mention Kid.
I mean, Kid was the most represented over this weekend.
Yeah.
It just had the best
Evan
conversion.
didn't list Kid.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
That's
like,
why.
yeah.
Oh, you're saying you don't think Kid's going to be one of the top 3 most played decks next week?
It might be in the top 3, but I'm thinking of, like, after round 4.
What
won't
you're
see it?
seeing?
Yeah.
Why? You don't think Kid has the same capability to go 4-0?
No, I think that if you look, so, all right, what's going to be played in Miami, the 120 person event that just happened at Cool Stuff is going to be highly represented by what's getting played in Miami, and the best players were not playing Kid. They were playing Luffy and Doflamingo and Blue and.
I mean, Kid went undefeated that event.
Yeah, Cigar went undefeated.
Yes, but that was one player. I'm not saying that Kid is not in this tournament. I'm saying that that is what Florida meta is. I still think I will say Kid is the second best deck in the format.
And you still believe Kaido's first even after no wins this weekend?
I think so, yeah. But I think, I mean, me and you have had plenty of conversations on that without giving what I'm going to be playing next week, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I understand that. But I just wonder if this weekend was a representation of the fact that people have lost faith in Kaido.
I think so, but I think that has to do heavily on the best of 1 format. I think a lot of players dropped Kaido and went over to green and red for like their concept of, oh, well, it's best of 1, so if I don't see Island, then I kind of lose versus like I have 2 chances to see Island, and I don't think that's the way to think about playing Kaido into a tournament.
I don't disagree, but like, I think the opportunity for Kaido lies in minute decisions. Do I go first? Do I go second?
Yes.
Do I build my deck around going second? Do I build my deck around the 10 drop? You know, do I even play the 9 drop? These are the questions Kaido players are asking right now. As a player and a judge, how do you feel about this weekend going into Miami?
Like, what do you mean?
Like, do you think that there's going to be like a lot of Law players? Do you think there's going to be a lot of Kaido players?
I think Florida plays green a lot.
You think Florida plays green?
I think Florida plays green. I think some of like there's a lot of players who play this game coming from other card games like Dragon Ball, where we have some like national champions and like world champions who are playing this game who haven't actually played it in many events outside of locals. But they're going to play in Miami for sure.
Right.
That like so I know I don't know they're on, but I can sure think they're going to play a deck that being the most consistent, and it's going to reward skill. So I think either you're going to be playing like a green deck where it's good in best of 1 because the leader itself is just very good, like off of Kid.
It's most consistent deck, probably.
It's most consistent deck. I think it's very agreed upon throughout everywhere,
Yeah.
right? Very consistent. Whereas it rewards good players, right? You don't have to think so hard throughout day 1.
Yeah.
But it does reward your good players. And then you have like Red Green Wall, which I think, again, most fun deck, very high skill ceiling, and you can have those players who play at the top of any meta game and other card games will like go to that first if they think that's what they can do for 9 rounds on day 1.
Right.
So I think we'll see a lot of green in Florida.
Yeah.
Whether it's a mix.
I
of
don't
both.
disagree with you. I think you know, it was the most represented deck in California.
Yep.
I do not expect it to be different for Florida. I don't.
Should be the same.
Because it's still, like I said, the most consistent deck. You could argue the best leader, naturally, because you don't need anything for it.
Worst turn could be 12,002 attacks.
Yeah. I mean, literally, and you don't have to do anything to get that.
No,
You
drew
just
for
started
turn.
the game
You
with
drew for
that.
turn.
Yeah. No one else can do that.
Budget-wise, it's not that bad either.
No.
Yeah,
Like,
it's also
Red
probably the most affordable
is the most
deck.
expensive one because of the Soros.
It's not even that.
And
Zoro,
Shane, and the
Shanks,
promos.
Beckman.
And now, because
so
they're
green
$10
is-
a piece now.
2K
Yeah, purple's the
Luffy.
cheapest deck to establish, you would say?
Purple,
Purple's
yeah.
the cheapest
2
one.
trial decks,
Purple.
and you need
The 10
10 drops, and then
the-
maybe
yeah.
1 or 2 7
Yeah,
drops,
all the
depending on your
events.
build.
Bagwa's a rare, easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kaido is definitely probably the cheapest deck out there, right?
Okay. So I want to ask, for Miami, not going to ask you what you're going to play, but what do you feel is going to be the winner for Miami's event?
Let you start.
Me playing purple.
Hey! Bring him back as
Oh, that's so funny because I'm going to be the king of pirates next weekend.
Oof.
And I'll be doing it. I don't know yet. So.
Yeah. I don't know.
I
Redacted?
literally yesterday made me more clueless. It did nothing for me. Like I feel more like I don't even have the spirit to play next weekend. I'm just like whatever.
That's so much fun now. I see being a judge. I don't have to worry about that. That's
Yeah.
great. I don't have those troubles.
So
Because
what do
it
you
just
think?
felt like anything did whatever it wanted to this weekend. There was no cohesion to me.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I think that now maybe this is biased, but I think Florida is the most competitive individual state.
In a
I
lot
mean,
of
it's that way for a
games.
lot of TCGs.
Yeah, a lot.
It's
Yeah,
not
I know.
just
That's what I'm
video
saying. Just
games,
in
too.
card games in general.
Yeah.
But that's because we have a lot of we have a region. We have like a lot of locals. I don't know how many other card games in America or how many states in America have as many card
Cali
shops.
is also really big.
Yes,
Yeah.
Cali is also
And
very
Florida,
big.
And I know the Midwest Chicago area has always had its fair share of really good card players,
Yeah.
especially in Pokemon. But yeah, Florida's going to be an incredibly sweaty weekend.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
I
No
think
pun intended.
Yeah.
So Ben, what do you
That's
think is
kinda
going to be the winner?
Something green, whether it's
Something
red, green, or green.
Yo, Odin? No, I'm kidding.
That-
Yeah, no, I think
Odin's
green,
really good.
Yeah,
though.
green is still my pick also. Just the numbers and the potential that it has. But let's just get it close with some questions that were sent to me, mostly for Ben. And starting with Dan Vang. Why is he so cute, Ben? Why is that so?
I don't know, Dan. I'd have to ask my wife.
Good
She's
genes.
somehow good jeans,
Good
but I'm wearing
genes.
shorts.
GG.
damn.
All
Florida
right.
weather.
And then let's go into this one. By Sage Cordova. Thoughts on time and slow players? I personally play fast and have debated on bringing a chess clock app. Some decks take a little longer to finish the game and shouldn't be punished if the opponent is taking more time than I think is normal. But I would love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, so I think it's a very hot topic in every card
Yeah,
game.
a lot of stalling.
Please don't bring a chess clock. We will take that away. If you go to the Miami Treasure Cup, you won't be able to use it. But I think it's about being respectful to each other's play time. And when there's 35 minutes on the clock, it's very easy to take a 2-minute, 3-minute turn by thinking for like
Sure.
one play. But once you see it's like 5 minutes left, everyone starts getting very like anxious, and they really want to play fast. And they're like, "Come on, now you're slow playing." But they don't realize they were slow playing at time 35, 33, 30,
Right.
adding it all, right? So I think it's just about how you approach it. If you ever think your opponent's intentionally slow playing you, please call a judge. Advocate for yourself. Judges will walk the
No
floors.
one else will.
No one else will. So judge will walk the floor, try to see it. But at the end of the day, you need to advocate for yourself. Please just let your opponent know, like, hey, I think that I would like for us to play at a pace that is acceptable for both of us to come to a conclusion of this match without going to end of time procedure.
Do you think that's the right way to do it first? Is
I-
talk to your opponent
I think
or immediately call the judge?
I like to talk to my opponent because I don't
Okay.
think that could give things. But again, if you ever feel like you need to call a judge, please call a judge. But I think you can just casually bring it up to your opponent.
Hey, do you
Even-
mind if we play faster even?
Yeah,
Just-
exactly. But
Yeah.
don't wait until 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
Yeah, then it's
The
that much
earlier
already
you can
done.
address it, the better it will be.
Yeah.
If they're taking 2 minutes already to play Nami on turn one and they're playing
Yeah.
Luffy, you might need to just say something.
Maybe,
Imagine
you know.
5 minutes with one card in hand.
Another thing that happens a lot when it comes to rulings like that is that you wait until after your match and then you go tell the judge
Yes.
about it.
That's done.
And then
I
there's
have
nothing
a
we can do
question
about
for
it
you,
inside.
Ben. That a lot of people, this might even be a question Diego was going to ask because for some reason, I guess this is a thing. To me, this wouldn't make the card game fun, but notepads and taking notes.
Oh, so
What's
I-
the story on that?
So in every Bandai game so far, in the TRM, it's always no note taking.
Uh-huh.
Whether I don't know the actual reasons behind it, I can't even tell you. I like the idea of taking
Uh-huh.
notes. However, I don't think it would work well at all in this card games, especially in a best of one where games are already going to time, because now you're taking time to write stuff
Correct.
down.
You're slowing
And
down the
you're
game.
slowing down the game, which isn't necessarily a good thing, right? We always complain about there's not enough time in the game already, so why slow it down more?
And
But
isn't that part of the card gameplay though? Remembering, oh, you grabbed a Nico Robin off that
Because they
Nami.
do it in Pokemon VGC, you take notes, but it's
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
every company's different.
It depends. Like you could also theoretically write down the cards you're stacking to the bottom. These are the 4, and then these are the next 4. So I know if I go down this much, I search this
Sure.
much, especially in Wall, where I'm bouncing Bonnies, bouncing Namis. I've searched 30 cards in my deck.
Right, and you know what's near the
I know my
bottom.
next order of my cards.
Yeah.
I can now know my deck in order. But again, I don't.
But should you? That's my
if you
thing.
can remember it,
If you can remember it, and that's a skill in its own right,
Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
Yes.
And I like it being that way, I guess.
You can't do it in Vegas, by the way, so you know.
Oh yeah,
No.
that's not
You
at
get-
the blackjack table.
You'll get in trouble. All right, speed round, final question of the day. I just want to ask, this is actually my personal question because we want to let people know about, this. What is the rule with custom-made cards, including Dawn and leaders?
You are not able to be using custom-made Don or leaders for any Bandai event, including locals, per the rule book.
Yep. Including Japanese cards. You may not play Japanese cards
use
because
English. the English version or your country's name.
We're in the English region.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yes, that is how now, whether it's enforced at local events or not, that's up to the TOs and things
But at
like
the bigger
that.
places, you
But
have
yes,
to abide
per
by
the
that.
rules of the game, that is not allowed.
Yeah. Well, that's been great. Ben, thank you for coming over. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It was great.
Thanks for
Well,
joining
guys,
the worst generation
yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really cool.
He's
to show
honorary
now.
now.
Now I know. Now that I know who they are.
Yeah. We'll give you a bandana also at Miami.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll
We're
be
all gonna wear
fun.
bandanas. We're all gonna get all that by Nate probably.
Oh yeah, if
They
you want
can't
to say
stop
hi
us.
to us in Miami,
Yeah.
tell us that you met us through the podcast. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. Let
yeah,
us
for
know.
sure.
We'll be wearing bandanas. You'll see us. You can't miss us.
Probably
anyways.
Burger King hats too.
Burger King hats. That's a tradition that we have. But thank you guys for watching. We'll see you all after Miami. We'll be filming a video for that too with our day one reactions because we're gonna do a Saturday night probably. So we'll see you guys on the next video.